Welcome to everybody still watching. We're going to switch sheets this match for watching sheet A, which is a semifinal match in our first event featuring Team Wikipedia from Plainfield, Danny Stesky, Bill Nickel, Bill Peskoff, and Scott Eady, versus a New York RFI team featuring Jay Chamberlain, Matt Wong, Rebecca Andrew, and Elizabeth Andrew. Give them a few minutes to get started, and we'll see the action as it happens.
All right, for those of you just joining us, greetings and welcome to tonight's 7:30 p.m. draw coverage. The game we're highlighting today is occurring on Sheet A. It's one of the semifinals of the inaugural event here. It is Team Wikipedia from Plainfield, Danny Stesky, Bill Nickel, Bill Preskoff, and the skip is Scott Eady against Lisa Andrews' team from RPI, the Andrews team from RPI, which is Jay Chamberlain, Matt Wong, Rebecca Andrews, and Elizabeth Andrews skipping. The teams literally just now are throwing the first stone in, and it looks like it's gone into top 8. And it looks like Andrew won the toss and elected to take the hammer in the first end. So Edie called the first one in the house, and let's see what Jay Chamberlain's first shot's going to be. Looks like we've got a takeout going on here. The brooms are on it fairly early. As I was saying, this is a semifinal in the first event. These are two teams that are undefeated to this point. And it looks like that's going to come up a little bit short. Looks like it is in play, but only just barely. And I don't think it's providing any coverage of the shot stone or not at this point. So here's Danny's second stone. Looks like Scott called for a a guard in front of the stone in the house. bringing it in nice, and looks like a nice 3-guard, pretty much locking down that port on the stone in the house. So we'll see where we go on from here. Looks like we got an exciting shot here already. Looks like we're going for a raise on the guard up front. Stone's on the way. Skip wants a little bit of sweep on it. And no, but it does peel off the guard. It doesn't actually get the run back, but it does peel off the guard. Edie is still lying one as we progress on. Another center guard from Edie. Looks like the stone in the top of the top of the 4-foot might be a little bit exposed here, and it looks like now apparently it's still buried because Elizabeth Andrew is calling for the front guards to be run off. Sweeper's on it almost immediately. Fighting it pretty hard, and let's see what we got. Fairly nice shot, moves both guards, totally exposes the stone in the 4-foot. One of the guards ends up rolling out to the left side 12-foot. Edie lies 2, and it looks like he's looking for a center guard here. Looks like Edie's pretty happy with this guard. It's coming in. Looks like it's going to be a nice 2-guard right on the center line. One last little touch of the broom, and yep, there it is. Nice center guard for Edie. Still lying 2 as we move to the next stone by the Andrew rink. Shot trying to draw in by Andrews, and looks like it might cut Edie down to 1. There's definitely 1. Not sure if it's closer than the second one or not. We really can't tell from this angle. It looks like Edie's still lying 2 from what I'm seeing on the overhead. Looks like the stone that was just thrown is about 6 inches short of being a second shot. And it looks like Edie's just looks like Edie's guarding it all up or possibly doing a hit and stick. Edie puts up another center guard. As we move to the last third rock of the end. It's going for the takeout here, possibly making a chance at a double. Not sweeping it anymore, and looks like, oh, just slid through the port. Wide open miss. And it looks like Edie's blocking up yet another port right here. This is Bill Peskoff's last stone of the end. Looks like Scott's just asking for another center guard, guarding the two that he's got. Well, guarding the one he's got in the house, although he is lying too. And looks like that's going to be about what he asked for. Looks like Edie's still lying too, and the one in the forefoot is very well guarded. Well, it's not quite in the forefoot, it's just touching the forefoot. Looks like it's very well guarded right now. And this is Matt Wong's last stone. He's being asked to move some heavy granite here. Throws a very upweight shot. Sweepers are on it very lightly. Let's see what happens here. Clears out a couple of the guards, exposing the stone in the touching the forefoot. Edie's still lying too, but it looks like both stones are exposed now. So let's see what he does with his first shot of the end. He's considering it right now. Looks like he's trying to figure out the line for the guard. All right, here's Edie's first stone. Believe with that weight, he's definitely trying to guard his stone that's just touching the forefoot in the center there. He's not calling the sweepers on. He looks pretty happy with it. A little bit of touch up there on the sweep. And looks like he has... Actually, he's bumped his up slightly. He's now lying 3. Now let's see if... we'll be honest, we're not 100% sure if it's Lisa Andrews or Elizabeth Andrews. We don't quite have that detail of the lineup locked down at this point. Okay, actually we do know that it is Rebecca Andrew throwing the skip stones here. Here's her first shot. Judging from the line and the speed, they're trying to double off the two on the center line there. And sweepers are all over it. Up and didn't get the double, but did take out the back one. Looks like Edie has definitely got one now pretty well in the forefoot. And it's a very measurable question as to whether Edie's still lying 2 or not. The stone that Rebecca just threw might have it nipped on the inside. It's a little difficult to tell from at the far end of the ice. Edie's definitely knows what he's got in mind. I believe the line he's calling, I think he's satisfied with what he's got. It looks like he's thinking about throwing up a guard to protect his one. I'm not 100% sure here. Edie's stone on the way. It's very definitely doesn't have the sweepers on. Oh, there now the sweepers are called in on it. Looks like he's guarding up his second stone. I think he thinks he's got two lying right now. Then he's trying to put up a guard to guard against that on takeout. Looks like the stone's exposed on the outside, but that would be an awfully hard shot for Becky Andrew to try. And even if she did get it, it would really only cut Edie down to one. So let's see what they're going to do here. Looks like they're considering a raise. They've got a couple of options for a possible raise to take one. With this shot, which is the hammer for this end. So no matter what happens here, Edie has almost certainly held the Andrew rink to at most one. And right now it appears they're facing two. She looks like she's going for the raise. It's coming in. And I don't think that quite had the result she was looking for. I believe she did. She just gave Edie steals 2 in the first end here. So Edie goes up 2-0 with a steal in the first end. And we'll be back in just a minute when they get the stones going for the second end. All right, welcome back to the A event semifinal here at the inaugural on being covered on sheet A. Edie versus Andrew, and Edie stole 2 in the first end and just had his first stone put pretty much right on the button there. So looks like we've got a nice clean takeout planned here. Looks like she's planning on a peel take actually. So we'll see what happens from Andrew's lead. Who stone is in the air now, or stone's on the ice now. Sweepers are on it pretty hard. Easing off a little bit. And pretty solid nose hit, rolls out to the edge of the 4. So Andrew's team, RPI, is now lying 1. And Edie calls for a hit and stick. So Edie asks his lead, Danny Stesky, to throw a hit and stick on the stone that's in the side of the 4-foot. Sweepers are on it hard as it's coming down the ice. It's got a hit, and he rolls just to the right side of the center line in the solid 4-foot. Edie lies 1, and RPI is calling for a hit with a slight roll to the outside is the call. Stone is on the way, and the outturn resulted in a slide past the stone. It's a miss. Edie still lies 1, and he's calling for a draw. He's calling for a guard draw up in front of the stone that's now in the 4-foot, just to the right of the center line here. left as your monitor, left on your monitor. He's right. And so he's just calling for a guard up in front of that. Looks like he wants a 2 guard, possibly a 3. And we'll see how that goes. And the guard comes in a little deeper than Edie really wanted it to do. It's just inside the 8, and there's some exposure here. Looks like RPI is planning on taking a shot at the double, or at least picking the front one out. And here it comes in, and peels off the top one. Both the shooter and the hit stone roll out of play. Edie still lies 1, very exposed in the 4-foot, just to the camera's left of the center line. And Edie asks for the guard to be put back. This guard's coming up. It's going to be a very high guard. And looks to me as though it did not come off the center line the way he was hoping. I believe from this angle, Edie has left the stone exposed on the left-hand side. Looks like RPI's got half to 3/4 of a rock, and it looks like they're going after it. All right, here comes in the attempt at the takeout. Looks like it misses it. Yep, it misses it wide on the outside. So Edie still lies 1 with a 2-stone lead as we're progressing through the second end of this A-event semifinal. Both of these teams are undefeated at this point, having gone 2-0 to get here to the Final Four. Edie's next stone is on the way. Looks like he's asking for another high guard to complete the match set up top. And that definitely looks like he's happier with that one. He looks like he's got both sides of the center line pretty well covered. Very high guards. And it looks like RPI is planning on knocking them both out if at all possible. Going with trying to take both guards out, which are just inside the hog line on the center line. Asking for a very, very direct, very hard line. Sweeper's just keeping it clean. Up, here they go. They're digging it hard now. Looks like the skip's fairly happy. And should be, because both guards are moved. One of the stones is taken all the way out of play, and the other one is just barely in play over on the left-hand side, not covering much of anything. Edie is lying 1, but it is very open at this point. It appears that Edie is asking for the guard to be put back. As we progress to Bill Petskoff's last stone of the end. Looks like Edie's asking for a guard. Looks like it's going to be looks like it's going to come off the center line a little bit. It's going to be a very high guard. Pretty much right on the doubles marker. So guarding the stone very well. Edie lies one, well behind cover as we move to RPI's third, Jay Chamberlain's last stone of the end. Stones gliding down the ice right now. Looks like they're playing, actually looks like they're trying to draw around that guard. Possibly being okay with ticking it off if necessary. Sweepers are on it very hard. They do tick the guard. Guard actually spins into the house up at the top of the 12-foot on the right-hand side. And the shooter rolls over to the left-hand side of the sheet. Well, not in play, but not actually in the house or guarding much of anything. Edie currently lying two, both stones exposed as we move to the skips rocks. Edie spends a little bit of time lining up his stone. He comes out of the house, comes out of the hack now, releases his stone. He's going to try to guard his stone in the 4-foot again. He's very happy with lying two at this point. Would be more than happy to sacrifice that stone up in the top of the 12 in exchange for an opportunity to guard this one up front. Sweepers are working on it very hard. Stone's cutting in now. And it looks like it settles in to be a deep 1, high 2 guard just to the left of the center line. Looks like his stone in the 4-foot is slightly exposed on the inside. He is lying 2, but it looks like there is some exposure, and it definitely looks like Rebecca Andrew is going to try to take that out. Sweepers are on this really hard. It looks like it might get past the guard. No, it just ticks off the guard just the slightest little bit. Rolls out of play harmlessly. Edie lies 2. Both stones are open again. Edie's preparing to throw his last stone of the end, and it looks like he's going to put the guard back. Edie definitely playing for the 1 steal. All right, Edie's last stone is sliding down the ice now. He's calling for a guard of a stone in the 4-foot. And this looks like he's going to be happier with it. It's just touching the center line. Way up. It's a deep 1, shallow 2 guard. It looks like his stone in the 4 is pretty well guarded. Really, it looks like all Rebecca Andrew has on this is a attempt to draw in on the button. Her stone's on the way. Sweeps her on it a little bit. And it's gonna go deep. Is it gonna go through? It goes through the house. Edie steals 2 again to move up 4-0 after 2 ends here in this A event semifinal. So after 2 ends, Edie's up 4-0. And we'll be back shortly when the stones get moving for the 3rd end. All right, we're back with the beginning of the third end here in this A event semifinal between the Winnipedia team from Plainfield being skipped by Scott Eady against the Andrew RPI team, Rebecca Andrew skipping. Eady's up 4-0 as we just starting the third end. For those of you joining in progress, he stole 2 in both of the first and second ends. Eady's calling for first stone from his lead, and it is in the house, just about full in the 8-foot. And looks like the Andrew from the RPI is calling for a hit on this. RPI's first stone of the end asked for a guard, and she has a guard guarding the just off the center line to the camera's left at about 3 or 4 feet outside the house, just off the center line. Eady's stone in the 8-foot is still exposed completely. Eady throwing his second stone to the end from his lead, Danny Stesky. Scott Eady looks like he has called for a draw in. Just gets past the guard and freezes up against the first stone in the end. He now has 2 touching, full 8-foot, just to the right of the center line. Already up 4-0. So it looks like calling for a very definite hit on both of those in that pocket. The double definitely looks in play. The lead throws the stone. It's got some good heft to it. The sweepers are all over it. And just picks out the one that was closer to the center line. Not sure how he managed to hit that in such a way that the second stone didn't move an inch. But at this point, Eady still lies 1. RPI's stone is also in the house, full 12-foot, just maybe nibbling the 8-foot. And it looks like Eady's actually asking for that to get picked out, if I'm reading his shot call correctly. Bill Nickel, Eady's second, gets the stone on its way. The sweepers are just now getting on it now. And there is contact. Whoa, just barely misses wrecking that red stone onto his, but it goes harmlessly out the back of the house. Eady now lies 2, 1 on the center line in the top 12, 1 in the 8-foot, a little bit out to the right of that. Elizabeth Andrews' second stone is on its way. Definitely called for a highway takeout, possibly looking for the double here. Sweepers are all over it. It hits the high one, and both the shooter and the target stone roll out of play. Eady lies 1 exposed, full in the 8-foot, just to the right of the center line. Eady is up 4-0 here in the third end as we progress down through. Okay, Eady's next stone, this last stone from his second, is in the house. It looks like he's freezing that to his first one. Little tap back. There's now about 6 inches or so separation between Edie's 2 stones in play. One just nibbling the 8-foot, one solidly in the 8-foot, both about 1.5 to 2 feet to the right of the center line. Edie lying 2, up 4-0. As the RPI rink prepares for its second, Elizabeth Andrew to throw her last stone. She's coming with a high hit. Looks like she's trying to spill them both. Sweepers are all over it, trying to hold the line. Makes contact, and an excellently executed double takeout spills everything out of the house. The shooter is possibly in play, possibly out of play. Shooter is still in play just barely, but outside the house on the right-hand side. The house is clear. Nobody's lying anything. An excellently executed double by Elizabeth Andrew. So Edie has an empty house, and judging from the broom he's called, it looks like he's asking his third, Jay Chamberlain, to draw behind the red stone that is just to the left of the center line. Stone's coming in now. Doesn't look like it's gonna get. No, it's a center guard. It doesn't quite make the house. It's about 6 inches to a foot in front of the house, pretty much right on the center line. There are 3 other games going on the ice right now. On sheet D, we're having the other first event semifinal, and sheets B and C have the first round of the third event, and we'll be updating you on those games as they progress. Right at the moment, both games are very tight, and we'll give you scores updates here shortly. They're both finishing up ends as we speak. Meanwhile, Edie is going after the stone that RPI put into the 8-foot on the left-hand side. And he's hit, and the shooter is rolling out of the house, just barely out of the house. Technically still in play, but it is behind the house over on the far right-hand side. So the house is empty as the RPI team throws its next stone, the last stone from its third, Jay Chamberlain. He's being asked to put it inside the house. And actually what he did, he chipped off the guard up front. Neither stone made it in, so now there's 3 stones in front of the house, 2 reds and a yellow. But the house itself is clear as we move to the skip stones. Edie's in the house, preparing to throw his first stone here at the third end. It's a completely empty house. There's a lot of stones in front of the house, 3 stones in front of the house, 1 stone actually in play behind the house, but nothing touching paint right now. And he throws his first stone. Looks like he's just looking to put something in the house and give the Andrew rink from RPI something to aim at. Sweepers are on this hard. It might actually tip and promote his one on the center line. Yes, it did, actually. It promotes the shot that he had, the stone that he had on the center line, promotes it into the house, halfway into the 4-foot. Looks like it might be, from my angle, it looks like it might be exposed on the right-hand side fairly fully, but it would be a very tight port. It looks like the Andrews rink isn't even considering that shot. Looks like they're going to play they're going to try to play the raise takeout. Oh, now they're reconsidering. One thing the RPI rink doesn't really want to do is let Edie score to get another steal here. This game could be over fast. So the stone is in the way. They're definitely looking to at least peel the front guard, and if they'd like to get a double if they could. And they pop the front one over to the side through a stroke of luck. It bounces off the red stone that they had in front, spins through the house. The guard is gone, but Edie's stone just to the right of the center line, halfway into the 4-foot, is still shot. Edie lies one. It's very exposed here in the third end. Edie up 4-0. And it looks like he's just probably going to put up a guard up with his last stone. Edie in the hack for his last stone of the third end here in this A-event semifinal of the Potomac Curling Club 2012-2013 inaugural Bonspiel here from Laurel, Maryland. Stone's on the way. He's just looking to guard up his stone that's in the 4-foot just to make it that much harder for the RPI rink, Rebecca Andrew, to take it out. Looks like he is going to try to get it in the house a little bit, so she's facing two, but primarily he's looking for the guard. It is going to be short of the house. It's short of the house. It's got his stone guarded. Although it looks like it's slightly exposed on the outside. It's a very high guard, but it looks like Rebecca Andrew is just going to draw in with the intern and try to draw to the button for one. Stone's on the way. The sweepers are on it almost immediately. They're going hard. Sweepers are being pulled on it hard. Stone's in the house. Is it going to get far enough? Yes, she draws to the full 4 to take the one. Nice draw there by Rebecca Andrew for the RPI rink to get back in this, to get on the board after 3 ends. Edie 4, Andrew 1. We'll be back in a moment with the 4th end. All right, welcome back to this A-event semifinal between the Winnipedia rink from Plainfield, skipped by Scott Edie, and the Andrew rink from RPI. After 3 ends, Edie's up 4, but Andrew just got on the board last end with a take of 1, so she's got the first stone on the ice right now, looking for a guard. This one is going to be a very high guard if it gets past the hog at all. And there's 3 sweepers on it. They're trying hard. Did it make it? It is over. It is not a hog stone. It is just barely over. That is about the highest center guard possible in this game. Another centimeter shorter and that stone would be out of play. So Edie's got a very high center guard to contend with. And it looks like he's just looking for a corner guard. Edie's taking the out turn off of the center line. And looks like actually he didn't call for guard. He wants it in the house. He's calling to get it to the full 8. The sweepers are trying to drag it that far. I don't think they're going to make it there. I think it's going to get a tag of the 8, though. Yep. It's got about a quarter stone in the 8-foot off on the right-hand side. Edie lies 1 here in the 4th end. All right, RPI's got their stone coming in, and she's asked for a draw around behind the cover. She's got to draw around the very high centerline guard, just touching the 4-foot. So right now, RPI lies 1, and it's pretty well covered by the very high guard. But it looks like Edie's trying to figure out a way to it, and there's definitely as much room as conceivably possible to come around that guard because that guard is very high. So he's just asking for a gentle draw tap on that stone, which he's asking to be delivered by his lead. Sweepers are up. Well past the guard. It's cutting in now. And there's the hit. Sweepers held the line on that well. He rolls his stone over to behind his other stone. He now has 2, 1 half in the 8-foot, 1 full in the 8-foot on the left side of the sheet, and lies 2 up 4-1. The RPI rinks being called. Matt Wong, who actually throws the lead stones but then skips the remainder of the end, is asking for the second, Elizabeth Andrew, to throw. Actually, I'm sorry. We on the third? Yeah, we're on the second stones now, right? Elizabeth Andrew to throw and attempt for the double. It's very high speed. Sweepers are both on it. Oh! Player down. Looks like he's okay, but definitely affected the flight of the stones here. So they'll be figuring out what to do with this. Now, under the spirit of curling, basically, Edie has the right, because when the player fell, he did affect the path of the traveling stones. Edie has the right to determine what would have happened had the stones not been interfered with. He will discuss with the other team to keep it within the bounds of reasonableness, but it is completely his call. Looks like he's actually believing that the shot would have been good, everything would have spilled, and from my point of view, I believe he's right. I think everything would have come out of play. Oh, he's actually leaving the stone. He's actually leaving one of the stones in the far 12-foot, because apparently he believes that stone would not have gone out of play on its own, so he's leaving that over at the side of the 12-foot. That was a heck of a crash. We're just glad that everybody looks like he's okay. The guy got up almost immediately and was truthfully mostly just embarrassed that he fell right on top of the stones. But everything looks okay, and the game carries on. Edie does have one in the 12-foot over on the extreme right-hand side of the sheet. Edie calling for another guard around that very high center line rock. It's well past the guard. Now the sweepers are just trying to give it the distance to get in the house good. It's definitely in the house. Looks like it might bite 4 when it comes to rest. Actually, it's pretty much full 4 right on the center line. And Edie lies 2, 1 undercover on the center line, 1 just hanging on to the side of the 12 on the extreme right-hand side of the sheet. Matt Wong calls for Elizabeth Andrew to deliver a takeout. It's coming around. She's well past the guard. Is it going to come back enough to get the target stone? No, it doesn't quite come back enough. She slides past on the outside. Edie lies 2. And it looks like he's calling to actually, I believe he's calling to freeze or maybe a light tap on his stone in the 4-foot. I got to believe he's calling for a freeze. I don't know why he'd tap it here, but it was kind of indeterminate from his broom placement. The weight looks about right for a freeze. Stone is past the guard. Stone is past the guard. It's not going to make the house, but it does definitely guard that stone in the 4-foot just a little bit better. So now he's lying 2. The one in the 4-foot is behind a very high red center guard, and there's a yellow stone guarding half of it that's just to the left of the center line. RPI is looking like they're going for the tall raised take. They clip the front one. No, don't quite get the motion on the second stone. Shooter rolls out. Edie still lies 2. One of the guards was taken out, but the very high centerline guard is still providing some very excellent coverage of that stone in the 4-foot. It looks like Edie's looking to put back another guard. Edie gets his next stone in play. It is full in the 12, just in the center line, so he's lying 3 right now. And both those stones are right on the center line. Looks like RPI is calling for... Looks like Matt is calling for Jay to try to do something with this. It's not hard enough to try any sort of raised double. I think he might be trying to drive in and tick the back one, but I don't think it's going to get over far enough. I think it's going to slide harmlessly through the house, and Edie puts a little bit of broom to it just to make sure. Yep, it slides through the house. Edie lies 3 as we move on to the last stone for Edie's vice, Bill Peskoff. All right, we're going to update you on the other games going on here. On sheet C, Sheet C right now, we have the red being Goldsmith from Lakewood. Yellowstones are the Tomlinson Rink from Philadelphia. They are working their way through the fourth end right now, and Goldsmith is up 3-2. They took a 3 in the second end to be up 3-2. That's on Sheet C, the other first event semifinal. Also on the ice, we have a pair of third event quarterfinal games. On Sheet B, we have Mellon in yellow against Dudley in red, and right now it is 2-1, also in the fourth end. Mellon is in front. And over on Sheet C, we have Atkinson shooting the Redstones against Bard in the yellow, and I'm sorry, I can't really see the scoreboard to know. I know Reds got 1 in the first end. It's 3-2. Atkinson is up 3-2 as we're just starting the fifth end over there. So now we return you to action over here on Sheet A in our feature match, where Edie is currently up 4-1 and has 4 stones in the house as we begin skip stones. Edie currently has 4 in the house, and he has the hammer. It's a very hard situation for Rebecca Andrew, the RPI rink, being skipped by Matt Wong. And it looks like what they're asking to do right now is raise that stone that they worked incredibly hard to just get over the hog line back at the very beginning of this end. Looks like they're counting on it to save their lives right now as they want to raise that back into the mess in the house and see what happens. The sweepers are on it very hard. It makes some solid contact, but all it does is just peel it out harmlessly. It rolls out. The shooter rolls out. Edie still lays 4 as he prepares to throw his first stone. So right now, Edie's just looking basically at how to defend the pile of riches he has in the house right now. Already up 4-1. He's looking to put this game away early. And it looks like, actually, if I was reading the conversation correctly between him and his vice, Bill Peskoff, it looks like he's actually wanting to put a third stone in to the pocket, the 2 stones up in the top of the 12-foot, just off the center line. Looks like he just kind of wanted to nestle one in there to put 3 in there. I'm not 100% sure that's what he's calling, but the broom looks right, and that's the shot that they were discussing. So, or he could be putting a guard up in front of it to make it that much harder for it all to get taken out. We'll see what happens here as the ice goes down. Unfortunately, we don't have the players mic'd, so we don't know the exact conversation, but that's what the broom appears to be calling. Edie's first stone is on its way down the rink. Edie puts up, that appears to be just touching house. They're looking at it. I think it's got a bite. So right now it appears Edie's lying 5 with a lot of stones piled in the front of the house as Rebecca Andrew prepares to throw her last stone of the end. Already down 4-1, facing 5 in the house. Basically, it looks like she's just going to throw something hard and try to spill as much of it as possible. And looks like Rebecca's coming down to discuss the shot And you really can't blame her for taking extra time on this, because truthfully, if she can't get something done here, this game will basically be over for all intents and purposes after this end. She's trying to figure out the angles to take out as many of those as possible. Ideally, she'd like to definitely get that one that's in the 4-foot out of play, and she'd really like to somehow pull off a miracle and get a stoner, get her shooter to hang around somewhere in a position where Edie at least has to get some sort of takeout to take something. So this is going to be a very difficult shot for Rebecca Andrew to try to dig out of a significant hole here. All right. Rebecca Stone is sliding down. It's got a lot of speed. The sweepers aren't touching it at all. There's going to be some contact. But all it does is just picks out one of the three that were up top. The shooter rolls harmlessly out of play. Edie is definitely laying 3, probably laying 4 with the hammer. He's going to just draw into the house here. Edie's got to draw for what looks like it's probably a 5. All right, Scott Edie in the hack to throw the hammer here in the 4th end. Already up 4-1. 4 of his in the house. He's just looking to put something in paint to score a 5 and take a commanding lead. His stone's on the way. His sweepers aren't touching it. Just lightly cleaning it up. The sweeper's just lightly giving it a little bit of brush up just to make sure it doesn't pick up anything on the ice. It slides in, very definitely taps that. Looks like Edie just took the 5 to go up 9-1 here after 4 ends.
So this is your tech guru, Michael Dobbs, sitting in for a bit here. Mara, the commentator, has gone to get the important necessities of a Bonspiel, something to drink and something to eat. If you're in the area, come on down and watch this match. This is, I believe, not our last draw for the day. We have a 9:45 draw coming up. Or you can rest up and come tomorrow for the first event final. So that first rock from the Edie team already in the house. Not surprising given their strong position. Matt Wong with his first rock. While we're going through the lead rocks here, let's take a quick look at our team list for today. Throwing for the Wikipedia team, In the lead position, we have Danny Stesky. In the second position, we have Bill Nickel. In the vice position, we have Bill Peskoff. And of course, throwing skip is Scott Eady. Throwing our red rocks today, throwing first and skipping, we have Matt Wong. Throwing second, we have Elizabeth Andrew. Throwing third, Jay Chamberlain. And throwing fourth, Rebecca Andrew. If you have any questions or comments or would like to know what it's like being here at the inaugural Bonspiel, send us a chat and we'll be happy to answer any questions. So sitting next to me here is our master ice technician for this event, Curtis, and I was trying to get him to come on and talk with everybody, but when I asked him to talk about the ice, he simply said, hey, it's cold, it's hard, it's wet. And I couldn't agree more. It's ice, it's cold, it's hard, it's wet. And when you fall, you normally experience it in that order. That quote courtesy of the Potomac Curling website, curldc.org. You've probably been there because you're watching our stream.
The best curling from the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area on the web right now.
Elizabeth Andrew throwing her first of two rocks. Yet again, Team Edie has taken a decisive commanding position in this the fifth end. But Liz has a great shot to open up the middle of the house. Bill Nichols, second rock. You're Alan, right? Yeah. So in case you're interested, the commentator you've been listening to at the beginning of this match, Alan McNeil, will be in our featured match at the 9:45 draw. So if you want to see that sultry audio talent on the ice, stay tuned. Elizabeth Andrews, final rock as second. That rock clearing some more junk out of the house, keeping it open. RFI does have hammer, so that is their goal. Keep everything open, make her and try and pull out a two if Scott Eady ever makes a mistake. Bill Peskoff fights for Scott Eady's team, throws his first rock. Looks like the call is to put another one in the house. Looks a little heavy. It might flash right on through. Or it could sit right on the tee line. Let's cut to a house view. This is what happens when I forget to push a button. There we go. Jay Chamberlain. This is a very heavy rock. Looks like they're going to take out Eady's shot rock. And they hit it and try and roll behind, but they get swept out of the house. Let's see what Scott Eady decides to do. Is he going to put another one in? Will he try and guard his shot rock? Looks like he's going to go with a tried and true, split the house. Force RFI to draw for one at the end.
That's a winning strategy. Why would you do that?
Certainly not the most creative strategy, but definitely a winning strategy. Bill Peskoff throwing his final rock as vice for Scott Eady's team. They're just watching it. Oh, now they're sweeping. Not sure why they're sweeping. Apparently they know the ice better than I do. As our last commentator said, it's hard to judge weight from the war room. That's why we're not sweeping.
What's the actual URL for this?
I'm being asked what the actual URL is. If you go to curldc.org, the link is on our front page. That's the easiest way to tell your friends and family to watch you curl. So the rock looks a little light for a takeout. Let's see if they can go and freeze. Looks like they left it just short. It might be biting. Scott Eady trying to figure out what to do. Is he going to guard against the promote? Personally, you're so far ahead. I might as well just take out that guard. Replace it with your own rock, maybe. That's a little dangerous. Looks like Scott's just going to draw in, put a third one in the house, and clog up the middle some more. Not up here, no. Takes too many system resources. Scott Eady's first rock.
No, I'm done. What kind? Don't tell me. Let it be a surprise.
Oh, they're sweeping it hard. Looks like he threw it a little light. I think it'll get to the house. But can it get around the guard? Looks like they just almost froze it to that guard outside the 12-foot. Can't even see it on the house cam.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go on the fast.
So let's see what Rebecca Andrew can do to put her team in a better position for her last rock. Looks like they're throwing a draw weight. Sweepers are really going at it, trying to put it in the house and keep it from crashing onto the guards. I don't think they're going to do it. Maybe they'll get a promote. Oh, hit the yellow on the wrong side. Scott Eady's final rock approaching. He'll have the gavel in this end. Looks like he's just going to draw another one in. Might as well. Scott Eady throws his final rock for the fifth end. He's definitely throwing a draw. Looks really light. It might end up as a guard. Sweepers are really going at it. Now they're off again. I think they're going to leave it as a guard. Yep. Didn't have enough to get to the house, so they're just going to leave it high as a 1 or 2 guard. It really does cut down Elizabeth Andrews' options here. We'll see what Matt decides, since he is skipping right now. It's a tough decision. You're down 9-1. You need to put some points on the board, and you definitely don't want to give Scott Eady more points on a steal. If you're a Potomac Curling Club member and are watching this web stream and thinking, hey, I'd like to help out, go to the curldc.org's website and email the web streaming team. You can do that through the Contact Us form. We'd be happy to have you help out and teach you how we webcast all of our events. We have several prime events coming up, including the GNCC Junior Playdowns in December. Hammer for Rebecca Andrew. Looks like she's going to get in the house, but not close enough. Scott Eady takes another 2 in a steal. They're thinking about shaking. So I am also being told that we are looking for volunteers during these events to help us make ice. And they have shaken. So Scott Eady defeats Team RFI. Scott Eady will move on to the final of the first event, to be played tomorrow at 2 p.m.
And that final will actually be against the winner of the Tomlinson-Goldsmith match, still going on Sheet D. Currently in the fifth end, Tomlinson is up 4-2. Also going on in the third event right now, we have some quarterfinals. On Sheet C, Atkinson is up 6-2 over Bard, and on Sheet B, it's Dudley 3, Mellon 2. Both of those are third event quarterfinal matches. And I think that's going to wrap up our webcast right now. So we'll be back at 9:45 for the next draw, which will be a fourth event quarterfinal draw, all 4 games, quarterfinals of the fourth event. So we'll see you back here in a little under an hour. Thank you very much, and enjoy your curling.